guys, it's Miss Sarah here with another edition of 10 Questions. I'm filling in for Miss Tara today, and today we have Senator Kim LaSata with us.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
No problem. All right, first question. These questions came from Mrs. Moore's class at Highpoint Virtual Academy, and they're from 7th graders. And they want to know, what made you want to become a senator?
That's a great question. Never thought about being a senator. I was a teacher. I taught 5th grade at Lake Michigan Catholic, and I loved my job. But I've always helped people all my life getting elected. I've helped knock on doors, do parades for people. And finally one day there was an opening for state representative, and there were people running for state rep. I looked at the people, and I didn't know all of them, but I thought, I'm really frustrated with politics, and I could be one more person there that is only doing the job because I love my district. I love where I live, and because of nothing else. And so I decided to do that. And in Michigan, we have term limits in the Senate and the House.
Right.
So Senator Prose couldn't run again, so that seat was open, and I decided to run for Senate. So I served one term in the House, and now I'm in the Senate, and I'll be running again next year for the Senate, because I can only serve 2 4-year terms in the Senate.
Okay.
And some people then decide if they didn't serve their entire time in the House, which is you can run 3 times for 2 years, so
Okay.
6 years altogether.
Mm-hmm.
They might go back to the House,
Okay.
but I wouldn't go back. It's just I like the Senate. When we check in, we have a clock where we have 1 minute to check in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the House, if you pull up on your computer or your phone and watch on the House floor as they check in, it can be an hour, and you're sitting there thinking, well, we're supposed to be here at this time. Where is everyone?
Right, let's get the work done.
So it would just be frustrating going back.
Right, yeah.
But they do great work. But yeah, so that's how I became a senator. So I
Awesome.
worked really hard. I have 3 counties: Berrien County, Cass County, and St. Joseph County.
Excellent. Great. Second question from the students is, how long have you been a senator?
This
in
is my
Michigan?
3rd year.
3rd year. All right. And what is your favorite part of the job, or what do you consider to be the best part?
Yeah, that's really easy. The best part is getting out into the community
Yeah.
and meeting people for the first time, or learning about businesses that I might have seen and I didn't really know what they did,
Yeah.
right? So meeting people, that's the best thing. And I always think that, people seem to be a little more angry today, for whatever reason. And I always think if you could just get face to face with them,
Right.
you could work things out.
Yeah, have a
right?
conversation.
Just talk to them
Yep.
and listen. And you're right, work it out.
Yep. And, one of my favorite things about being here at the library is being able to interact
Yeah.
with lots of different people as well. So I totally feel you on that one.
I've always dreamed about
Yeah.
working in a library, so.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is just the opposite. What's the most difficult part of your job?
Yeah, the most difficult part is, I guess, sometimes we have to make some tough decisions.
Right.
And you try to weigh all of the information, and you have to decide, okay, what's best for my community.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you make a decision, not everyone is going to be happy about it.
Right.
And so I guess that, along with people that don't even necessarily know you or want to understand what you do or what decisions you've made, they're just mean.
Yeah.
So I really don't look at Facebook a whole lot.
Yeah.
I do for my Senate information, but it's I hope we get to a place where everyone, most people become positive again and happy.
Right.
And because it really does take a lot more energy to be angry.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see an upward trend on that
Yeah.
too, because we've noticed that no matter where we go.
Right.
So we just want everybody to be happy.
That's right. Right.
Okay. Next question is, how many steps do you have to go through to make a law in Michigan?
Yeah. So again, I used to teach 5th grade and I taught American history. I would always show my students, I'm Just a Bill, Schoolhouse Rock,
Yeah,
right?
Schoolhouse Rock,
And then
yeah.
also watch the Saturday Night Live version of I'm Just a Bill when President Obama was in office. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But when we had a lot of executive orders, and we can relate to that being in Michigan, right? That the
Right.
legislature doesn't have a lot to say. So, that's pretty good. But if you know, I might get an idea from someone in my district that there's a problem, right? And we'll check into the problem and see that maybe there's a law that needs to be changed. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of wineries in our area, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
breweries and distilleries. So for this one particular business, they produce all of those things, okay?
Okay.
And they had a tasting room where you could go if you're 21 or older and don't use a fake ID. You go and you couldn't taste all of what they made. You could only sample the wines,
Oh,
okay? And
okay.
so what the liquor control wanted them to do, the way liquor control was interpreting the law, they said to this business, well, you can put a separation down your business, like a wall, and you'll have 2 separate addresses, and then you can provide those things. Well, when they said that to me, I thought they were kidding. And I
Yeah.
said, you're kidding, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any
That
sense.
doesn't make any sense.
And so we were able to make some changes, and we worked with the liquor control rather than just trying to push things through and, you know, not even listen to them.
Yeah.
We worked it through. The governor signed it a couple weeks ago, and it's now law. So that made it better for all of these businesses that operate in you know, that area.
Right.
So, you know, and again, you know, we're not aware of legislators aren't aware of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So people need to reach out to us with their problems
Right.
and tell us, and
Let you know
we
what
can
they
try
wanna
to help
see.
them. Yeah,
That would be great.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. What things would you like to accomplish as your term ends as a senator?
Oh, right. I'd like to fix our school problem, but I think it's going to take longer than what I have. Gosh, that's a really tough question because
Yeah.
I can go off in all kinds of directions. Honestly, being a teacher, and I love kids, it would be school. It would be, I want to see the ability for kids to go to whatever school they want. Because we know we're all different learners. And we saw that during COVID when students had to be online, and there were kids that they had a really difficult time being online, right? They need to be face to face. My son was one of them. So, but maybe you're a student that does better online, or maybe for half a day. But we need to focus on what's best for the kids, what's best for the students, right? It shouldn't be the adults in the room. It should be what's best for all of the kids. And they deserve a great education. They all deserve a great education. And if we could provide a great education for every kid, we're not going to see other issues or other problems, right?
Right.
So, I mean, if we could all get on the same page and just keep our eyes on the kids and whatever that entails. You know, we've talked a lot about consolidating schools. I mean, not that the state's, don't be scared, I'm not saying the state's coming through to consolidate schools, but the pushback we hear about that, we know that people aren't having as many kids as they used to, right?
Right. Yeah.
And some schools are getting smaller. Well, you know you can't continue to provide the same things that you've always provided in your school if you're getting smaller and smaller, because you're going to need more money, right?
Right, yeah.
So why don't you consolidate? Well, I mean, believe it or not, and you probably do believe it, the big issue comes with the adults in the room or the alumni. Oh wait, we don't want to lose our mascot, right? We're a Viking. We don't want to not be a Viking anymore.
Right.
So
The
you know, we need to
nostalgia
put
there.
that aside and just again focus on the kids and what's best for them. And if we could provide, I would love to see more social workers in the schools. And I know that's money, but then let's talk about that. How many do we need? And we definitely need more academic counselors in the schools to help guide kids, to make them aware of the opportunities there are for them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And it's not necessarily going to college, it's all kinds of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of kids out there that don't have adults that are able to help them with that, right?
Right, yeah, so they need to find adults that,
Yeah, can kind of help
can give them
foster
that little
their
push,
their interests
Yeah.
and show them what's available, and also provide information that you can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
You know, and looking at, if it's college, looking at that sticker, well, that's not necessarily what you're going to pay.
Right.
So here are lots of different opportunities to get money for college. So, yeah, if we could really do a lot more for our schools, for our kids, I think we would see a better world.
Yeah, and we are definitely 100% behind you with that at the library. We love learning opportunities and
Yeah.
resources for everybody in our community.
Yes.
All right. Question number 7. What does a normal day look like for you? And do you have like a daily schedule or anything like that?
There is not a normal day. So yesterday, for example, I went in and I had a meeting before we were in session. So the Senate is always in session on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay? So, sometimes I have meetings before that. And so then we went to session at 10. And there was a bill that we were going to vote on, but not everyone was happy with it. But we knew that it was an important bill to get done. And so it was just kind of discovered that maybe there weren't enough votes to get this bill through the Senate, right?
Right.
So then there was work being done on that bill. So in the meantime, we went at ease. That means like we stopped, and I went to a committee meeting that was taking place. So we went to the committee meeting. A lot of times I don't get lunch because my staff just books me back to back. And they don't want me to get into any trouble, so they want to keep me busy. So it's never, when you look at your schedule, I guess I could try to keep track of how many days a week actually follow the schedule.
Yeah.
So a lot of times then, when we thought session would have ended at 11:30, I would have meetings right after that. So those meetings have to be changed, or maybe one of my members of my staff will fill in for me. That happens sometimes too. But then not only do you have meetings in your office and now Zoom, and isn't it interesting, Zoom is kind of like Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand, but we just call it
Use it for
Kleenex, right?
everything, yeah.
And Zoom, we have different Zoom
Different platforms, but Zoom is like the
yeah,
term.
well, anyway, so then we have Zoom meetings, you'll have meetings in your office, but you still have committee meetings. And so, when I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were just not happy that I didn't call them back right away. And you want to say, do you know what I do?
There's only so many hours in
just
a day.
be patient. Be patient. Yeah, so that's a good trait to have, is patience, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So I don't have a normal day.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, that keeps it interesting.
It does. It really does. You never know what's going to happen.
All right, so if someone was interested in becoming a state senator, how would they go about doing that?
Great question. I would first say, depending on your age, what your interests are, sometimes I'll meet young people and I'll say, get involved in your community.
Yeah.
If you live in the
That's
city of Niles, get involved with city politics, right?
Yeah.
And then learn as you go. For me, I wasn't on the county commission. I wasn't part of a city commission. My husband was. But, so it was different for me, but get involved in your local, don't want to get political here. So whatever, political party you're interested in, go to some meetings and see what it's all about. Get involved.
Or
Start
maybe-
getting involved. Learn about your communities. Learn about what the issues are, right, in your communities. Learn what problems you have. There's so much to learn.
Right.
And if you continue to be interested, then, with term limits, Representative Paquette can only run for one more term. and he'll be running next year. So then that seat will be available, right?
Yeah.
So really, what support you can have is building a foundation too, and that foundation would include people that believe in you, you know, to do the job, right? That would support you, that would help you and knock on doors. And if you decide to go down that path, whether it's running for a county commission seat, a school board, or a city commission, or a state rep, or senate, whatever, knock on doors. That's what you have to do. You have to go out and you have to meet the people, talk to the people, or they're not going to know who you are unless, you know, you have a name that's well known in town, right?
Yeah.
Like Tyler, or you know, or,
exactly.
or whatever. But you know, most people don't have one of those names.
Right.
So people have to get to know you.
Yeah. And
So,
I think
it's a lot of work, so be prepared to do a lot of work.
Right, and even younger kids, even if they can't, you know, get involved in, you know, like city government, they could get involved with their school.
And they could get involved
government.
with me next year and help me.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and get a feel for it.
Right, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm sure some kids would like that opportunity. All right, so question number 9 is, how do you decide how to vote on legislation that comes through the Michigan Senate?
That's a great question. Because, and I think we can be candid here, right? With the 7th graders.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you see that, politicians, they'll just vote for whoever gives them the most money. And go back to, remember what I said why I decided to run? It's because I love my community.
Yeah.
I've lived here all my life. I have deep roots here. My husband has deep roots in Niles because he's from Niles. But, you know, we live, I believe, in the best part of the state. And I'm not going to do anything that's going to be a detriment to my community or the people in my community. And I also am aware that I'm not an expert. I was a teacher, and I wouldn't even say I'm an expert on education. But I know most of what I know in a field is teaching, right? But I do reach out to the experts, and I find out from them, you know, what's going on. What do you think about this bill or this law that would be changed because it's going to affect you? And I find out from anyone that would be affected by a law.
Right.
And then I take all that information, and then I have to just make a decision. You know, what would be the best decision to make?
Based on the information that you've gathered.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep, that's a lot of what we do, you know.
I can,
Lots of places is gather
Yeah.
lots of information so you can make an informed decision and then just hope that you made the best decision possible.
right.
Yeah.
And you know, you're not going to be able to please everyone all the time.
Right.
So you have to be able to be strong enough to handle the backlash.
Right.
So.
But in your heart, you feel like you're doing what's best for your community, and that's what's important.
Yep, right.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, last question from the students is 10. Do you ever get nervous when you speak in front of a group?
Yeah, I used to, and I was telling the people here earlier that I used to be painfully shy. So I transferred to high schools in 11th grade. So someone being painfully shy, changing schools, when you hear about lunchtime being the worst time for kids, it absolutely is the worst time.
Right.
You know, I lived it. But I do remember I made phone calls for my senior year for a presidential election. And I look back and I think, how did I do that? You know, was I stuttering a lot? Was I don't know. But it just took me a while to as I'm getting older, to be able to talk to people. Because, yeah, I used to get, earlier in my life, I wouldn't have been able to do this.
Yeah.
So there's hope for everyone out there. Yeah, because you get to a point where we're really all in the same boat, and we all get nervous about different things, right?
Right.
And, you know, most people are good people, and they're not going to judge you.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the 11th question that we didn't tell you about.
No. Okay.
11th question.
That's good, though. I like that.
Coming from librarians, we would like to know, what's your favorite book?
Oh, gosh. I mean, that's a tough one. I love reading, and gosh, you know what one of my favorite books is probably Buzzy the Bee. So I do March is Reading Month, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Buzzy, so my son, he's not doing it this year because his bees died, but he was a beekeeper. And he just graduated from high school.
That's
But
cool.
Buzzy the Bee, someone told Buzzy that if, no, Buzzy was reading information, okay? Because bees can read. And that his body basically was too big and his wings were too short, that he shouldn't be able to fly. So he believed that he couldn't fly.
Oh no.
And so he couldn't fly. And he had to get home. And so, it's just, it's one of those stories that you could read. It doesn't matter what age you are. The meaning of the story is to believe in yourself and not what others say, right?
And
So
that's always a
believe
good
in
lesson.
yourself,
Yeah.
absolutely. And if it's something that you want to do, don't let other people tell you can't do it.
Yeah.
Just keep working at
Be
it.
your biggest
And
cheerleader, right?
So, yeah, I guess Buzzy the Bee is my favorite book.
That's awesome. Well, that wraps it up for today. Thank you, Senator LaSata, for coming in and joining us
Yeah.
today. Check out down there, hit subscribe wherever it is down there, and we will see you guys next time for
Okay.
another edition of
All right.
10 Questions.
Thanks.
Bye.